My name is Lenka, and I'm a graduate student at Tilburg University in the Netherlands. And today, I would like to talk to you about choice architecture. Let me start by telling you what choice architecture actually is. When you look into the literature, you'll find that they define it as a social background against which our choices are made. Well, that is pretty vague, so let me illustrate that by an example. Suppose you want to buy lunch, and so you go into a canteen. You grab your tray, and then you see a variety of foods displayed in front of you. You can probably imagine that it affects your choice which foods you see first. So it might affect what kind of dessert you're getting, or if you're getting any dessert at all. Maybe if we put salad first, you'll get salad. Maybe if we put it last, next to the dessert, you'll be tempted by the dessert, but then you realize, well, maybe I should be getting the healthy option. Maybe if we put soup first, you'll say, if I get soup, then I'll already be pretty full when eating the main course, and so I will not like a dessert. All of these things matter when you're making choices, even though you might not realize it. So that is one example of choice architecture in a canteen. If you think about it carefully, you realize that choice architecture is pervasive. It is everywhere. And it is inevitable that somebody makes choices about how choices are presented to us. You can also imagine that in many cases, the way we display choices or the way we offer things greatly affects outcomes. So when you talk about choice architecture, you often talk about something which is called soft paternalism. Choice architecture can also be different warnings, defaults, or even labels. They have this huge advantage that they are not taking away any freedom to choose. Because just because I put desserts in front of soups and not the other way around, doesn't mean that you cannot choose soup. It only means that one of the options is more visible, or perhaps easier to reach. You could also say that such soft paternalism, or this particular choice architecture, is easily reversible. Well, if you want soup, you can just ignore the dessert and get it. If you don't want to read warning labels, you just ignore the warning labels and you throw them in the trash. No problem. A rather obvious question comes to mind. Should we use choice architecture to nudge people to make better decisions, such as eating salad, studying for exams, exercising regularly, or even saving for their retirement? The most important argument for would be that we humans make a lot of poor decisions, and this would be a pretty easy way that is not too intrusive to help us. For example, we all react rather emotionally, and in those cases, we might not be listening to reason and making poor choices. Or, we are notoriously bad at predicting outcomes. One of the reasons why is that we cannot really work well with probabilities. So, we overweight small probabilities and underweight medium-sized probabilities. That's a problem if you're predicting something. The other problem we might have is that we're being overly optimistic. Ask any person in the street, are you better than an average driver? Well, most people will say yes. The problem is, most people cannot be better than the average. Or, ask somebody who's eating a cake, do you think you're going to exercise after this? And people will say, of course. I'm somebody who leads a healthy lifestyle. Of course I'll exercise after eating this cake. Well, chances are, most of them won't. And the final problem, which I would like to illustrate with a rather lengthy example, will be procrastination. Because we humans really don't like making complicated decisions. What we do then is that we postpone making the decision until often it's too late. Here you see a bar chart documenting the percentage of people in different European countries who give consent to donate their organs after death. As you can see, these percentages differ across countries. For example, in Denmark, only 4.25% of people want to donate organs, while the percentage is about 99.1% for France, Austria, or Hungary. You might wonder, how come that these differences are so huge? Well, if you look closer, you'll see that the 4 countries on the left are shaded in gold. That means that they require explicit consent in order for the government to use your organs after death. This system is also called opt-in. In practice, that means that you have to fill out a form in order to become an organ donor. In the countries on the right, with the high consent percentages, the opposite default is in place. There you are presumed to have given consent, and only if you do not want to donate organs, you fill out a form. As you can see, a simple policy can have a huge impact on how many organs are available for transplants. Of course, relying on choice architecture has some drawbacks. Let me outline the 3 main ones. First of all, you would say, who decides what is better for people? What are the better choices towards which we want to nudge people? Some of us might love binge drinking and really hate salads. Why should we try to make these people do these things that they really don't like? People are heterogeneous, and they probably know themselves the best what they want. The second argument against would be that sometimes making these silly decisions is okay, because you might need to learn. People will not trust you that eating salad will make you feel good if you haven't binged eaten cake before. Of course, it doesn't work for a lot of the applications you can think of, because if you make a mistake in not saving for your retirement, by the time you learn that you made a mistake, it might be too late to do anything about it. Similarly, about organ donations, by the time it comes for you to donate organs, if you decided not to, there's no learning anymore for you. You could also say, well, mistakes are okay because markets can eliminate some of these mistakes. For example, if people are buying bad products, eventually they'll realize that the products are bad and the company will go out of business. The problem is that for many things there are no markets. If you want people to lead healthier lifestyles, there's no market for that. Similarly, there's no market for organ donations. There's no market failure that we could address. The third argument would be that the implementation of such soft paternalism is extremely problematic. First of all, who should be this person deciding what the better decisions are, and how should this person be controlled? This person will be making a lot of decisions on how to present decisions for us. But how do we actually present the decisions for this person making decisions? So, how to make choice architecture for this person? In addition to that, if people realize that they are being nudged in a particular way, they might feel that they are being treated as irresponsible children, which is wrong in itself, because people value autonomy. And second, for obvious reasons, this could backfire and render the policy inefficient. So is choice architecture, nudges, or soft paternalism, or whatever you want to call it, a good idea? Should we press for having more of it in our lives? Well, that's up for you to decide. Until next time!